My doctor slipped me a secret note that read, "Don't go home. Run." That night, I discovered my own family was planning to have me committed to a nursing home to steal everything I had. But what they didn't know was that I had a secret that would change their lives forever. Welcome to Aunt Millie's Tales. If you're watching, please hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more true stories of lives tested, just like mine. My name is Eleanor Vance, and I'm 70 years old. For 45 years, I thought I had raised a loving son. Michael came into my life when he was just 2 years old, an abandoned boy my husband and I adopted. With all the love in the world, I gave him everything: a top-tier education, unwavering affection, and years of personal sacrifice. When my husband, Richard, passed away 10 years ago, Michael became my only family, along with his wife, Catherine, and my granddaughter, Sarah. We lived in a quiet, tree-lined suburb of Chicago, in the house where I'd built my entire world. But that Tuesday, during what should have been a routine doctor's appointment, my world fell apart. Dr. Sterling, my trusted physician of many years, examined me as he always did. But something about his behavior was off. His hands trembled slightly as he checked my blood pressure, and he avoided direct eye contact. "Everything looks good, Mrs. Vance," he said, his voice strained. "Your labs are perfect. Your heart is strong. You have many good years ahead of you." His words should have been reassuring, but they felt hollow. As I got up to leave, I felt him approach from behind. Suddenly, while I was grabbing my purse from the chair, Dr. Sterling discreetly slipped a folded piece of paper into the bottom of it. He did it so quickly that I almost didn't notice. "Take good care, Mrs. Vance," he said, forcing a smile. "And remember, family isn't always what it seems." His words sent a chill down my spine. What did he mean by that? Why had he given me that note so secretly? I left the office with my heart pounding, but I decided not to read the note until I got home. During the cab ride, 1,000 thoughts crossed my mind. Dr. Sterling had never acted so strangely. He was a serious, professional man who had known my family since Michael was a teenager. Why would he be giving me secret messages now? When I arrived at the house, Michael, Catherine, and Sarah were in the living room, talking in hushed tones. They abruptly fell silent when they saw me. Catherine had several papers in her hands that she quickly hid behind her back. "How was your doctor's appointment, Mom?" Michael asked, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Everything's fine, dear," I replied, trying to sound normal. "The doctor said I'm in perfect health." Catherine exchanged a look with Michael that I didn't miss. Why did they seem so disappointed? Were they hoping the doctor would tell me I was sick? "That's great, Grandma," Sarah said, but her voice sounded strangely cold. "It means you have plenty of time left to enjoy yourself." That night at dinner, the atmosphere was thick with an unspoken tension. Michael barely spoke to me. Catherine answered in monosyllables, and Sarah avoided my gaze. "Is something wrong?" I finally asked. "No, Mom." "Everything's fine," Michael replied quickly. "We're just tired." After dinner, I went to my room with a heavy heart. Something was definitely going on, and the doctor's note was starting to make a terrifying kind of sense. With trembling hands, I took the paper from my purse and unfolded it. What I read took my breath away. "Mrs. Vance, your family was here yesterday. Catherine asked me about your mental state and if I could certify that you need special care. They want to put you in a nursing home. They also asked about your inheritance and assets. Don't go home. Run." Dr. Sterling. My hands began to shake uncontrollably. My own family. The son I raised with so much love. The daughter-in-law I treated like my own child. My granddaughter, who was always my adoration. Suddenly, it all made sense. The strange looks, the whispers, the hidden papers. They weren't disappointed because I was in good health. They were furious because the doctor hadn't cooperated with their plans. I couldn't sleep that night. Every noise in the house startled me. I lay awake, listening, trying to understand how I had reached this point. How was it possible that the family for whom I had sacrificed everything was now conspiring against me? At 2 a.m, I heard voices in the kitchen. I got up stealthily and crept toward my bedroom door. I could clearly hear Michael, Catherine, and Sarah talking in low voices, but loud enough for me to understand every word. "The damn doctor wouldn't cooperate," Catherine said with irritation. I explained to him that the old lady is losing her mind, that she sometimes doesn't recognize anyone, that she leaves the stove on, but he insisted she's perfectly fine. "Relax, my love," Michael replied. "We'll find another doctor, one who's willing to sign the papers we need." "But what do we do with her in the meantime?" Sarah asked. "I already got accepted into college on the West Coast. I need that money now, not in 5 years when she finally kicks the bucket." "Sarah, don't talk like that," Michael scolded, though without much conviction. "You have a point, though. We need to act fast. The house is worth almost $500,000, and with her pension and savings, we could live comfortably until she dies," Catherine finished coldly. "Look, I didn't join this family to take care of a senile old woman. I married you because I thought you'd inherit soon. But it's been 10 years, and she's still here, spending our money." "Our money," I repeated silently, feeling rage start to grow in my chest. All my money, earned with my and my late husband's sweat, they saw as their own. "Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to a lawyer," Michael continued. "I'm going to ask if we can have her declared incompetent without a doctor. There has to be a way. And if that doesn't work," Catherine added, "we can always make her life impossible until she decides to go to a nursing home herself. Take away her TV, don't cook for her, treat her like what she is, a burden." "Mom, don't be so cruel," Sarah said, but then she added, "Though the truth is, I'm already tired of pretending to love her. She's always there, butting into our conversations, asking why we're out so late. It's insufferable." My legs began to tremble. I leaned against the wall, feeling my world crumbling around me. "Enough already?" Michael said, his voice sounding tired, not indignant. "Look, in a week, I'm going to talk to her. I'll tell her we found a very nice nursing home, that it would be better for her to be with people her own age. And if she refuses, we'll use Plan B." "What's Plan B?" Sarah asked. "We make her really lose her mind," Michael replied coldly. "We switch her medications. We hide her things. We tell her she did things she didn't do. In a month, any doctor will certify that she's mentally ill." The horror of his words hit me like a physical blow. Not only did they want to rob me, they wanted to destroy my mind, my dignity, my sanity. They wanted to turn me into what they claimed I already was. "It's perfect," Catherine said, excited. "And once she's committed, we'll have access to all her accounts. We can sell the house, collect her pension, and dispose of everything without anyone bothering us." "Exactly," Michael confirmed. "And the best part is that no one will suspect a thing. To the outside world, we're the perfect family, lovingly taking care of a sick grandmother." They laughed. The 3 of them laughed as if they had told the best joke in the world. They laughed at me, at my naivety, at my unconditional love for them. In that moment, something inside me broke. It wasn't my heart. That had already been shattered since I read the doctor's note. What broke was my blind faith in goodness, my belief that love is always reciprocated, my conviction that family is sacred. They were right about one thing. I was a lonely old woman who was completely dependent on them. Or so they thought. What they didn't know, what they had never bothered to find out, was that I had a secret that would completely change the balance of power. When my husband Richard died, he left me with more than just love and memories. He left me with an inheritance I had kept hidden all these years. $2.2 million in an offshore bank account that only I knew about, in addition to 3 properties overseas that he had bought as investments. I never told Michael about it because I wanted to be sure he loved me for who I was, not for what I had. But now I realized I had been a fool. He had never loved me. He had just been patiently waiting for me to die, so he could inherit the little he thought I had. "Well," Michael said finally, "I think we're all clear. Tomorrow we put the plan in motion. And remember, in front of her, we have to keep being the loving family we've always been." "Of course," Catherine replied. "I'm an excellent actress. I can fake loving her for a little while longer." I heard their footsteps retreating toward their rooms. I stayed there, frozen, with the doctor's note clutched in my hand. He was right. I had to run. But I wasn't going to run like a scared victim. I was going to run like a woman who had just woken up from a 45-year-long dream. I was going to run to plan the most perfect revenge they could ever imagine. I spent the rest of the night planning. I didn't sleep a minute, but for the first time in months, I felt completely awake. I knew I had to act fast and intelligently. At 5 a.m, when I was sure everyone was asleep, I silently took out my smallest suitcase and packed only the essentials. Personal documents, a few changes of clothes, my medications, and most importantly, the little notebook where I had written down all the details of my secret accounts. Before leaving, I decided to do something that would give me an advantage. I took out my phone and activated the voice recorder. Then, I walked back through the house, making sure to pass near Michael and Catherine's room. As I expected, they were already awake, whispering about their plans. Catherine was talking about making copies of my cards, while Michael mentioned his appointment with the lawyer to ask about the declaration of incompetence. "Do you think she suspects anything?" Catherine asked, worried. "Impossible," Michael replied. "She's too old and trusting. Besides, what could she do? She has nowhere to go. We're all she has." I had recorded enough. I left a note on the kitchen table that said, "Gone to run some errands. I'll be back later. Eleanor." I took a cab to the nearest bank, withdrew $5,000 in cash, and then took another cab to the most elegant hotel in downtown Chicago, the Grand Imperial. I knew I needed a place where I would feel safe while planning my next moves. "How long will you be staying with us?" the receptionist asked. "I'm not sure," I replied. "It could be a week. It could be several months. It depends on how certain family matters unfold." As I went up in the elevator to my suite on the 10th floor, I felt a mix of terror and excitement. The suite was beautiful, spacious, with a stunning view of the city. I sat on the living room sofa, and for the first time since the night before, allowed my emotions to overwhelm me. I cried. I cried for the 45 years I had dedicated to raising a son who saw me as an obstacle. But after crying, I wiped away my tears and began to plan. I took out my notebook and made a list. Contact my financial advisors, hire the best lawyer in the city, and find a private investigator. At 2 p.m, my phone started to ring. It was Michael. "Mom, where are you?" His voice sounded worried, but I could detect the irritation beneath it. "I'm fine, dear," I replied calmly. I decided to take a day for myself. "A day for yourself? What does that mean? Where are you?" His voice was clearly annoyed. "You know what, Michael? I said with a calmness that surprised me. I'm 70 years old. I think I'm old enough to make my own decisions. There was a silence. Mom, you're scaring me. You don't sound like yourself. Are you taking your medications? He asked, planting the first seed of their strategy. I'm perfectly fine, dear. I've never been better, I replied, and hung up. I immediately turned off my phone. That afternoon, I hired the most prestigious law firm in the city. The head attorney, a man in his 50s named Graham Montgomery, received me personally. I need complete legal protection, I explained. My family is trying to have me declared incompetent to take control of my assets, but I have recordings that prove it's a conspiracy. Dr. Montgomery listened carefully as I played the recordings. His expression grew more and more serious. Mrs. Vance, this is very serious, he said finally. What your family is planning constitutes elder abuse, conspiracy to commit fraud, and potentially forgery. We could prosecute them criminally. That's exactly what I want, I replied with determination. But I want it to be in the most painful way possible for them. Dr. Montgomery smiled. Mrs. Vance, I think you and I are going to work very well together. The next day, Dr. Montgomery called me with interesting news. My private investigator has already discovered something important. Your daughter-in-law, Catherine, has been using your personal information to apply for credit cards in your name for the past 6 months. What? I exclaimed, indignation rising in my chest. She has 5 credit cards that you never authorized, with an accumulated debt of $43,000. Purchases at luxury stores, expensive restaurants, even a trip to the Florida Keys last month, the lawyer explained. The memory hit me like a slap. I remembered that week perfectly. Catherine had cried, saying her mother was very ill. I had given them money for that trip, in addition to what they had already stolen. What else did your investigator discover? I asked, fearing the answer. Your son, Michael, lost his job 8 months ago, but never told you. He has been living off your savings and pension. We also discovered that he has already contacted 3 different doctors, trying to find one who is willing to certify that you suffer from senile dementia. Each revelation was a deeper stab. And my granddaughter, Sarah? I asked, my voice breaking. She's 3 months pregnant, but is lying to her parents about who the father is. Apparently, the real father is a married man of 50, who now wants nothing to do with the baby. The secrets kept unraveling. There's more, Dr. Montgomery continued. Catherine has been having an affair with your neighbor Dave for the past 2 years. My investigator has photographs and videos. The irony was brutal. While they were planning to destroy my life, each of them was living a lie. That afternoon, I decided to do something I hadn't done in years. I went to the most elegant stores on Michigan Avenue and bought 3 beautiful dresses. I also bought new shoes, a genuine leather handbag, and even got my hair done at the city's most exclusive salon. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't recognize the woman looking back at me. I looked powerful. That night, having dinner in the hotel restaurant, I decided to call Michael. Mom, finally! Where the heck have you been? His voice was furious. Taking care of myself, dear, I replied calmly. Mom, this has to stop. We're your family. We have a right to know where you are. A right? I repeated. Since when does my family have a right over me? Since you started acting erratically, he replied. I think you need to talk to a specialist, Mom. Someone who can help you with these behavioral changes. He was admitting his intentions on a call that I was recording. You know what, dear? You're right. I do need specialized help, I told him, and I could hear his sigh of relief. Yes, I understand perfectly. I need a specialist in family fraud, a specialist in elder abuse, and a specialist in psychological manipulation, because that's exactly what you all have been doing to me." The silence was deafening. "Mom, what are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the fact that I know everything, Michael. I know about the fake credit cards Catherine took out. I know about your plan to have me declared incompetent. I know about the doctors you've contacted. I know you lost your job 8 months ago and that you've been living off my money. I know about the trip to the Florida Keys you paid for with my stolen money. I know many other things that are going to surprise you a lot when you see them in court." "You're delirious," he said, but his voice no longer sounded sure. "Delirious? Last night, I heard you planning how to make me really go crazy by switching my medications. Is that a delusion too?" This time, the silence was even longer. "Mom, come home. We can talk about this as a family." "No, Michael. We are no longer a family. A family doesn't betray you the way you betrayed me." "Mom, please. I am going to give you one chance. Just one. Confess everything, apologize genuinely, and return every penny you have stolen. If you do that, maybe I can find a way to forgive you." "We have nothing to confess," he replied, his voice trembling. "Then I'll see you in court, dear." "Have a good night." I hung up, and for the first time in days, I felt completely at peace. The war had been officially declared. Dr. Montgomery suggested we let them dig their own grave a little deeper. So, on Monday morning, I got dressed in my new, elegant black dress and headed to the city's most prestigious real estate office. I had made an appointment to view luxury properties. My private investigator had coordinated everything perfectly. At 11 in the morning, exactly when we would be viewing the second property, a spectacular mansion, Michael, Catherine, and Sarah would coincidentally appear at the same office. "We're interested in selling a property," I heard Michael say to another agent. "It's my mother's house, but she's ill, and we have legal power of attorney to handle her affairs." "Hello, family," I said loudly from the stairs. The three of them turned, and their faces of horror were worthy of a movie. "Mom," Michael stammered, "what are you doing here?" "The same thing you are, apparently," I replied calmly. "Although I'm buying, not selling." "Mom, we need to talk," Michael said, trying to sound authoritative. "About what, dear?" "About how you were planning to sell my house without my authorization? About the fake documents you're processing? Or about the power of attorney you just mentioned that doesn't exist?" Catherine stepped forward desperately. "It's just that she hasn't been right in the head lately." "I'm not right in the head?" I repeated loudly. "Is that why I'm here buying $1.5 million house with my own money?" "Oh yes, dear granddaughter," I said with a sweet smile to a shocked Sarah. "It turns out your senile grandmother has a lot more money than you thought." I took out my phone and dialed Dr. Montgomery's number. "Doctor, I'm at the real estate office. My family is here trying to sell my property without authorization. Could you send someone to document this?" I looked at my family. "Now, we're going to wait for my lawyers to arrive, and they're going to explain to everyone here exactly what legal documents you have." The public humiliation was just the beginning. Dr. Montgomery called me that afternoon. "Mrs. Vance, I have extraordinary news. Your family made a critical mistake." In their desperation, Michael went directly to a document forger named Paul Hayes and paid him $50,000 to speed up the creation of your fake medical documents and a fake will. "A fake will?" I whispered. "Yes. But here's the best part. Paul Hayes is an FBI informant. He has been collaborating with the authorities for months. The FBI has audio and video recordings of the entire transaction. My family was now under federal investigation. That night, I opened my laptop and created an account on a popular live streaming platform. My title was simple: A Grandma Tells the Truth About Her Family. At 8 at night, I went live. "Good evening," I began. "My name is Eleanor Vance, and tonight I'm going to tell you a story that will change the way you see perfect families." In an hour, I had over 3,000 viewers. I told them everything, playing the recordings and showing the documents. The live comments were overwhelmingly supportive. Then, in the middle of my stream, I received a live call. It was Sarah. "Grandma, please turn off that stream," she pleaded. "You're ruining our lives." "I'm ruining your lives?" I repeated for all the viewers to hear. "Don't you think you all ruined mine first?" She hung up, but the damage was done. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. It was Michael, and he was furious. "Mom, turn off that stream right now. This is defamation. I'm going to sue you." "Is it slander to play audio recordings where you all plan to drive me crazy?" "But tell me, do you want to explain to all these viewers why you paid a document forger $50,000 yesterday afternoon?" The silence was long. How do you know that?" "Because Paul Hayes is an FBI informant, Michael. Congratulations. Now you're not only being investigated for family fraud, but for federal conspiracy." "Mom," he said, his voice completely broken, "please stop this." "We can still fix it. We're family, aren't we?" "A family doesn't betray, Michael. A family doesn't steal. A family doesn't plan the mental destruction of one of its members." "We needed that money, Mom. We have debts, problems." "And that's why you decided to drive me crazy?" "It wasn't personal." Those 3 words hung in the air like a death sentence. 45 years of love, and to him, it wasn't personal. "You're right, Michael," I said finally. "It wasn't personal for you all. And from now on, it won't be personal for me either. I'll see you in court." I ended the stream with over 7,000 viewers. The next day, I received a call from a genuinely broken Sarah. We met at the hotel cafe. She confessed everything: Michael's gambling debts, Catherine's ambition, and her own pregnancy. Then she revealed the final betrayal. Her parents were planning to blame her, the rebellious teenager, for everything to save themselves. She offered to testify against them, providing her own recordings of their fights. In exchange, she asked for my help. "I want you to teach me how to be a strong woman like you," she said, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of the old connection. "Deal, my girl," I said, shaking her hand. "But now you're my ally, and allies protect each other." The day of the trial came faster than I expected. The courtroom was packed. My story had become national news. When I saw Michael and Catherine at the defense table, I barely recognized them. The prosecutor presented the case masterfully, but the most shocking moment came when Sarah took the stand. With a firm, clear voice, she narrated every conversation, every plan, every betrayal. The defense attorney tried to discredit her, but she stood her ground. When it was my turn, I told the jury, "They didn't just betray me. They made me question every moment of love I thought I had shared with them. They made me wonder if I was ever anything more than an obstacle between them and my money." "And how do you feel now?" the prosecutor asked. "Now?" I said, looking directly at Michael. "I feel free. Free from the lies, free from the manipulation, and free from the obligation to love people who never truly loved me." The jury deliberated for just 2 hours, guilty on all counts. Michael was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Catherine received 10. 6 months later, I bought a beautiful house on the outskirts of the city. It's smaller, but it's full of light and has a lovely garden where Sarah and I spend our afternoons. She finished high school with honors and decided to keep the baby. She is now studying law, inspired by everything we went through. She says she wants to specialize in elder protection. Grandma, she told me a few weeks ago, do you ever regret adopting Dad? I don't regret adopting him, I replied. I only regret not understanding sooner that kindness should never be practiced at the cost of self-destruction. I learned that real family is not defined by blood, but by loyalty, respect, and genuine love.